In preparation for Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of Frank Herbert's Dune, I've been exploring the characters, organizations, and elements that make up this fascinating series. In a universe set thousands of years after the banning of computers, thinking machines, and conscious robots, one of the groups that was responsible for the continued production of complex machinery was the society found on the planet Ix, known commonly as the Ixians. In this video, I'd like to discuss the lore and history behind the Ixians and how they ensured their survival by enabling the Imperium to continue to make technological advancements. The Ixians were a society that specialized in the production of complex machinery, which often showed a disregard toward the prohibition of the construction of machines made in the likeness of a human mind. Their name is derived from the fact that their homeworld was the 9th planet of its solar system. In the book Children of Dune, Ixians use the term Xian San Xiao when referring to the golden elixir of life religion. This perhaps indicates that their origin might have been some Oriental culture of Earth. The nature of the Ixians' government is a source of controversy in the lore of Dune, as the prequel books written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson appeared to contradict Frank Herbert's description in his original novels. A major source of this controversy comes from the fact that the ruling power of Ix is referred to in Dune Messiah as a confederacy instead of a great house. However, in Brian's work in the expanded universe, he introduces a subplot detailing that Ix was ruled by House Vernius, which is never mentioned in his father's work. In the original novels, the inhabitants and rulers of Ix are only referred to as Ixians, and not members or subjects of House Vernius. Another evidence to support this was that in the book God Emperor of Dune, a Bene Gesserit's analysis of the various power brokers in the known universe listed Ix as a separate entity from the houses of the Landsraad. Attempts have retroactively been made to explain the absence of House Vernius in the original novels by submitting that the house was greatly weakened and that the planet at the time was gradually being taken over by technocrats and the technocracy. A technocracy is a government of elite technical experts which control society or industry. To many Dune fans, this form of government makes more sense than that of a fiefdom due to the Ixian supreme focus as a society on survival through technological innovation. In many ways, the Ixians are very similar to the isolationist society known as the Bene Tleilax. In the same manner in which the Tleilaxu push the boundaries of what is considered to be morally right and wrong with living matter, the Ixians push the boundaries of what has been established to be right and wrong with machines. In the expanded universe, it's explained that the only real technological competition the Ixians had was from the Richessians. However, it was held that the Ixians typically produced superior machines to those that came from Richess. In Dune, the Machine Crusade, it was explained that the thinking machines which existed before and during the Butlerian Jihad had used the planet Ix as a major manufacturing base, largely due to its natural resources. In the Dune Encyclopedia, it's noted that during this time, Richess was a very powerful planet that also held control over the planet Ix due to having a military force larger than the entire Ixian population. The encyclopedia also points to Richess as the planet that spawned the Butlerian Jihad. This jihad was triggered by Ixian rebels when they saw the hybrid human-machine Richessian experimentations and mutations that came from self-programming and self-reproducing computers, which were acting in coordination with a few thousand technicians and scientists. As a result of the jihad, Ix saw its liberation from these machines. Afterwards, the planet Richess was said to be abandoned for 2.5 centuries, but eventually the inhabitants of Ix began to exploit the resources of that world. Ix then became a center of scientific and technological research and development and retained its role as a major producer of technology. However, because of the Ixians' desire for secrecy, most of its structure and industry, including its capital city, were located underground, while the surface of the planet maintained the appearance of a world devoted to agriculture. Over time, the secrecy of the Ixians made members of the Landsraad skeptical, even going so far as to accuse them of violating the restrictions of the Jihad. To further conceal their work, the Ixians spread sinister stories about the planet in order to dissuade the investigations of those who are curious. The Dune Encyclopedia brings out that the feeling regarding the Jihad and the banishment of computing machines prevented the Ixians from openly trading in the fields of technology. They were forced to continue to discreetly trade with other worlds and to remain in isolation for some time. Once the Spacing Guild reintroduced space travel into common use, the Ixians felt that it was only a matter of time before their system would attract the attention of an expansionary society, leading to the possible discovery of their machines and the destruction of their civilization. In order to avoid that fate, the Ixians sent an ambassador to Emperor Saudir I, who saw the benefits of having a controlled source of technology. Ultimately, he decided that Ix would remain isolated in order to avoid the destabilization of the Imperium and the endangerment to the socio-political system of the universe. Concessions would then be made by the powers that be to ensure the interests of all parties could be served. At this time, it was determined that the Ixians would continue to exploit the planet Riches for its resources, and that it would remain their center for manufacturing. In this agreement, it was also decided that the Spacing Guild would ensure that no unapproved visitors were able to reach Riches or its solar system Eridani A. In Brian Herbert's expanded universe, House Vernius of Ix and House Riches competed with one another in a technological war for guild contracts. Ix went on to win this war around the same time that House Riches lost stewardship of Arrakis. It is also explained that during the later part of the reign of Elrud Carino IX, that the Emperor arranged to take Ix away from House Vernius and give it to the Bene Tleilax. This was accomplished through the use of Tleilaxu face dancers, which have the ability to mimic any individual. These infiltrators caused an uproar among the Ixian suboid lower caste workers, and with the help of Imperial Sardaukar, they conquered the world and renamed it Zuta. This occupation was only temporary, as Prince Romber Vernius, along with members of House Atreides, including Duke Leto, Gurney Halleck, and Duncan Idaho, enacted a plan which liberated the planet from Tleilaxu occupation. As noted previously, in the original Dune saga by Frank Herbert, only a few details are given that hint toward the history of the Ixians, and while there is some conflict between what is included in the original series and what is laid out in Brian's expanded universe, by all accounts it's well established that the work of the Ixians over the centuries has contributed greatly to the growth and advancement of human civilization in the Duniverse. By the time of the events described in Frank Herbert's first novel, Ix is the definitive leader in providing technology to the Imperium. Ixian devices are commonplace, but the society itself remains unseen until later in the series. The Ixians actually play a significant role in the outworking of Frank Herbert's original saga. As the series unfolds, they turn into a major power in the universe. They would eventually go on to create starships called No Ships, which contained advanced calculation systems. These vessels were invisible to prescience and served as a replacement to the Spacing Guild's method of interstellar navigation. They also developed self-improving hunter-seeker devices, which consumed organic life. These devices posed a significant threat, as they would ultimately lead to humanity's destruction if left unchecked. As with most of the elements and organizations in Frank Herbert's universe, the Ixians, while certainly not center stage, play an impactful role in its functionality and the outworking of the saga. But I'm curious to know what you think about the culture and history of the Ixians. If you're familiar with the Dune Encyclopedia or expanded universe, is there a narrative laid out in either one that's preferable to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy content. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.